All right, so angle relationships. What's up there? So today we encounter a number of angle concepts. There are adjacent angles, vertical angles, linear, parallel, supplementary, and complementary angles, and perpendiculars. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on these different ones today. I think a lot of them you're going to already understand and probably know. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them you will. And then we'll just kind of base it off of that and keep it going. This is our notes for the day. We'll do our challenge after this, and then we'll get to our assignment, okay? All right, adjacent angles. Two angles are adjacent when they have one side in common, but their interiors do not intersect. This means that if two angles are adjacent, their non-common sides lie on opposite sides of their common side. Adjacent angles. I'm going to draw a couple of examples up there. Just going to give you a second to jot that down. So adjacent angles basically means they have one side in common, right? But they don't intersect each other. They don't cross each other like an X. One side in common, but they do not intersect each other. Adjacent angles. I believe that was one on your page yesterday, correct? Okay, adjacent angles. Up next, we have an example of adjacent angles. And we can tell that they are adjacent because we have that one that intersects, they share one side. Do we agree that they're both sharing this side right here? So if I wanted to actually draw this out, we could have my blue one be angle 1, because this is the angle right there. We all see that. And if I take a different color, here's angle 2. And do we agree that they're sharing that middle one in the middle that's both blue and red? Okay? Okay, can I move on? Or does anybody want to still write that down? Give you a second. So now we have some non-examples of, or non-adjacent angles. So we've got AVB, AVB, and AVC, but these are not adjacent. Can anybody tell me why they're not adjacent? Isaac? Sorry, you're stretched. I thought you were raising your hand. Let me highlight them for you. So there's one. And there's 2. What's wrong with that? Why can those not be adjacent?
Isn't it C then B then D? Not A, B, D, C. Not bad.
Why, Josh?
Because AVB is a lot skinnier than ABC.
Okay, let me show you. We agree they're sharing a side right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do we also see how the blue line, the B line, is intersecting it? It's in between it.
Mm-hmm.
So what it has to be, remember, is it has to be one that looks like this, where they don't intersect each other. See this blue one though, it's cutting it in half, so that's why they can't be adjacent. These are just two separate angles. Does that make sense or no? Okay. It says the interiors of angles AVB and CVD, AVB and CVD, do not overlap, but they're not adjacent since they do not share a side. So again, that's the opposite now. So if I took a third marker, actually I'm going to leave my blue ones here. So my first one, we're going to have AVB. Everybody's okay with that? And then we're going to have CVD. But again, though, notice they don't share a side. They share a point, but those are just two separate angles. Okay? If we wanted to have an adjacent one, though, we wanted to get super particular and have an actual adjacent one, we could do something like this. You see how that one would be adjacent? Yeah, what's up, Josh?
Could you do AVB and VVB or no because of C?
So we could, because notice that C is not a part of that one though. Like I could erase C, and it does make adjacent angles. So yes, those could be adjacent.
Oh,
The only time it can't be is when part of the line that you're using, so like again, like when we had the C and the B is in the middle, but the B is not a part of that one though. So no, we're good. Good question. Are we all good with that? So adjacent angles, they share a side and they line up next to each other. That's all it is. Okay, vertical angles. Vertical angles is probably one of the most important things that you'll talk about during this unit. What does the word vertical mean? Up and down, right? Okay. So what this is really saying is ones that are up and down to each other. So for instance, vertical angles are pairs of non-adjacent angles. Okay, let's talk about adjacent for just a second. So before you start copying this down or looking at anything, I want to show you something. Do we agree that these are adjacent?
Yes.
Okay, everybody get on board with that from what we just talked about? Okay, so this says non-adjacent. So it cannot be these ones. Those ones can't go together. They share their vertex in common, but nothing more. So vertical basically means this right here. 1 and 3 are vertical because they go up and down, right? And then if I were to turn this or rotate this figure, 2 and 4 also just go up and down to each other. They're vertical. Now here's the crazy part about vertical angles. They equal each other. So whatever 1 equals, 3 equals the same thing. Whatever 2 equals, 4 equals the same thing. So for instance, if I were to tell you that 1 is equal to 75, what does 3 have to equal? 75. And if I were to tell you that 2 equals 100, what would 4 have to equal? Everybody see that? Questions on that? Okay, so we've talked about adjacent and vertical so far. Okay. We have vertical angles only when 2 lines intersect. This means that they can't have a bend in them. Diagram below, these are not vertical. Here's why they're not vertical. Remember I just told you that they have to have the same value? Well, I think we can look right here. These 2 would be vertical. Wasn't this angle right here a lot bigger than this 90-degree angle right there?
Yeah.
So do you see how that doesn't make sense? If they are the same, then they literally have to be the same. We can't have a close or similar. It has to be the exact same. Is that okay? Going too fast, or can I keep going? Jackson, is that too bright? I just feel like we're a little sleepy today, so I'm just trying to get a little more light in here. All right, let's talk about linear lines. Linear. Okay, so linear means straight line. Linear means straight line. When a ray originates from a point on a straight line, a pair of adjacent angles are formed. Can we agree these are adjacent? Because they share one line, but it's two angles? We didn't say adjacent meant the same, we said vertical meant the same. Linear is going to be this line right here, and what does a straight line equal?
180.
180. So here's what this is saying. This angle and this angle have to add up to be 180 degrees. Because a straight line equals 180 degrees. We're good there? Alright, so let me just ask you this just for curiosity here. If I told you that this was 105 degrees, what does angle 1 equal? If I said that angle 2 is 105, what is angle 1? Josh, what'd you get?
75.
This is very important. That is what the basis of our entire lesson's on today. Easy enough, right? Questions there? Alright, keep going then. Alright, complementary. Has anybody ever heard the word complementary? What does complementary mean? Let me rephrase. Has anybody heard this word in math?
Yes.
Complementary, very simply, means 90 degrees. Complementary means 90 degrees. You want me to show you a really easy trick to remember this? Here's the word complementary. If I just take a line, what number did I just make?
9. No.
90. Complementary means 90, because if you take the line through the C, you make a 9, and then right after that is a 0 or an O, which makes 90 degrees.
So smart.
Thanks, Josh. I wish I could take credit for that one, but I didn't.
Who can?
I don't know. Someone taught that to me in school. Are we okay with that? Okay, so do we agree this is a 90-degree angle? Do you agree there's two adjacent angles here? 60 plus 30. So we have the 60 here and the 30 here, and they add up to be 90. Complementary means 90. Good there? All right, I'm going to keep going then. Supplementary, the next word of the day. Supplementary means 180 degrees. Supplementary means 180. But Josh, guess what? I have an even better way for you to remember that. If I take a line, and I draw it through my S, and then I clean it up a little bit, what number have I made?
8.
An 8, right? And supplementary means 180. Complementary is 90, supplementary is 180.
Can you take credit, please?
I cannot take credit for that one either.
Dang.
But so if I have my 60, which is a smaller angle, and I add it to my 120, it's going to form a straight line, which is going to give me 180 degrees. Anderson, you good back there? Okay. Okay, so far so good? Okay. Skip over that one, skip over that one. I'm going to end my notes there. Now, we're not done today yet. We're getting close, but I want to do a couple more things. So I'm going to go stop my video. Look at that timing. Perfect.